Hey, this is Annie.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff I Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio.
And welcome to another happy hour where I am confused. So I'm just going to ask some questions and you're going to help me debunk my thoughts, Annie.
Okay.
And maybe listeners, you can send this your thoughts and advice. Content warning, we are going to mention pet death, aging, all of the anxieties. But before we start in this happy hour, of course, if you're partaking of anything, do so responsibly. Annie, are you partaking of things?
Yes.
What you partake in?
Red wine. Ooh. But I have to say, I wasn't planning on doing it today, but we've had some technical difficulties, and I just thought, you know what?
Needed. It's needed.
That will help.
We're struggling here. Yes, I am drinking some bubble water and coffee because I needed an upper.
We're opposite in that way.
Yeah. Because things have been happening and that makes me want to shut down. JK. Of course, if we are talking about any brands or such, anything specific, know that it's not currently sponsored. Who knows? Yeah. It might change.
Yep.
If they are things that we like, then sure.
There are.
Please sponsor us.
I feel like that's pretty clear in certain episodes. Like
it's true. It's true. Okay, so I went through today because I was thinking about some of the things that I wanted to talk about, and as per usual, I am always in some kind of identity crisis, and whether it's aging, whether it's blah blah blah, whether it's my identity as an Asian person or it's my identity as a Southern adoptee. All of those things are happening, and right now there's some things I'm like, what are there things that I can do to prevent the aging process, to prevent like memory loss, all these things. So I am in full gear, as well as the fact that is there things I can do to prevent loss? I have been stuck in like spiraling into fantasies, not fantasies, but like the daydreams we've talked about before, you know, where we make up the scenarios of people's deaths and we start grieving way early.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of gotten me into the spiral of like, trying to prevent my own death, or what do I need to do, to the point that my partner's like, I really don't want to talk about this, but I'm not going to, but we need to. I mean, honestly, we need to. Mm-hmm. And so like, these are some thought process, and I'm going down the different types of rabbit holes that can be pipelines. We've talked about this into the conservative media, conspiracy theories, and even like the left conspiracies that I'm like, all right, y'all calm down. You know, like some of these things. And so I'm trying to debunk some that might be not true. So I need people to help me because, like, for one thing, I'm desperately clinging to my aging dog in that, like, we all know I love Peaches and I can't handle pet deaths very well. I mourn my first dog so hard that I still cry about him today when I start thinking about it. And then my neighbor went through her pet loss and I cried. I had to leave the room. Like, I still cry about it now. And then I kind of transfer those thoughts onto my current dog, Peaches. So I'm having a lot of moments. But the thing is, so I'm trying to figure out, is there a natural pathway to get my dog treated without having to take her to the vet? Because my dog, I don't know if have I ever explained this on mic, that my dog is so bad at the vet. She is so anxious ridden. She hates everything. And she has remembered all of her past trips that she loses it and won't let anybody touch her, and then like jumps and like causes a pretty dangerous situations for the vet and for her. Not necessarily like she does snap at them, but that's actually my least worries because she doesn't bite. But what she does is jerk and jump around, so they can't handle her to do any like medical stuff. So we have to sedate her, but she is awful with sedation to the point that it takes her 24 hours to fully wake up. Like to the point that she will, who is very well trained, rarely has accidents, won't even wake up to go to the bathroom. So it really, really concerns me. Her heart rate goes back. At one point, I think they had to use Narcan to wake her up because they gave her too much. So like, and because like I've heard stories of people going in for routine stuff and they just did not handle the sedation well. And y'all, I've cried pre-vet appointment. Just the fear of that. So I'm looking through, I'm like, okay, I'm reading all of these things and I'm willing to, like, I got chastised this morning because I paid a ridiculous amount for additives that is supposed to help my dog. Just so like I'm trying whatever I can. And I know, Annie, you're not a scientist, but you do look at a lot of foods research. And you probably don't do this in relation to like dogs and animals, but like, are there valid nutritional things that can help my dog not die or age?
Wow. You're putting me on the spot. Okay,
I am.
First of all, I'm not a vet. I just want to put that out there. I will tell you that there are things from the food podcast research I have done. There's plenty of history of things that do work. But the issue is a lot of times people, and I'm going to assume pets, don't consume them in a medicinal amount, and you shouldn't unless you get like, no, that's okay. And so there are things that can like help, and especially dietary things, but they're not going to, I don't know, they'll slow down the aging process or make it better. But yeah, it's mostly like you're not going to consume enough to really make a difference. And if you do, you're probably just going to pee it out.
Well, and then this leads me to the fact that, yes, I'm also doing this for myself. So like, I've talked about it before. I'm like, I'm always exhausted. It's gotten to a point that at least a week out of the month, maybe it's around my, like, where it would be my period, but I don't know because I am on an IUD and wonderfully my period has stopped. I still PMS. I can tell you when I kind of PMS and it doesn't feel like it's correlated to that, but I'm so exhausted that it feels like I literally cannot wake up or I cannot move off the couch or I will stand up and I get so dizzy so quickly that I'm about to pass out. Like those moments that I've had, and I've looked at POTS. TikTok has told me I might have POTS, so then I'm like, but I don't have any of the other symptoms, so I don't know. But anyway, God, social media has ruined me. I actually started looking that up. I was like, has social media ruined me? But like recently they're talking about like all these vitamins are great and all, but you're just peeing it out. It's just expensive pee. And I'm like, so wait, is there no supplements that we can take that like does help? Is this all lies? Annie, am I being lied to?
Okay, once again, I'm not an expert, but based on the research I have done for the show Savor, you should go check out. They're not all
one
lies.
Big advertisement for your other podcast.
I didn't know this was going to happen to me. I literally had no idea. They're not all lies. And I know, especially like in some instances, I have had doctors actually tell me to take B12 specifically for me. But I think it's very specific. Human bodies are complex.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of us just can't intake the amount of whatever is in XYZ vitamin. And so, yeah, it's just like your body can't absorb it that quickly. I think things like, this is going to sound silly, but I remember for a while I was getting really dehydrated. I would just put lemon in my water. Maybe it was placebo effect, but that's supposed to help. And I did feel like it helped. So I feel like the vitamin itself is like too much to absorb, but the like source of it, of like vitamin C.
Yeah.
If you can get that more in your diet, if you can incorporate that more naturally, preferably with food usually. But yeah. So it's not like all lies. It's just I think they kind of sold like, you need this much.
Right. I mean, that we definitely have talked about that as a beauty brand and how they really like the whole Vita trend. Oh my God. I forgot what that was in the 90s. My mother and my sister both sold it and would have like 10,000 pills that they would have to take every day. And I was like, that looks like vomit. Because I have a hard time digesting it. My stomach is super sensitive to all of that. So I'm like, I have to eat a lot and then make sure I have that pill in between the meal. so that it's not the last thing I had or like all these things. So I have started at taking B12. I've also found an iron gummy that I've been chewing on, thinking that that might help because those two things seem to be like this helps with energy. You might be deficient of these things. Yes, I need to go to a doctor, but all my blood works, whenever I've had blood work done, are typically good. That's the other part that I don't understand. Maybe I need more work with extra things. But like from what I can gather, like it doesn't seem anything abnormal. So I'm like, well, maybe I'm just a weird person that can't function. Who knows?
You might just be sad.
I might just be sad. That's the other question. I do have that. Like, is this, or like when we were talking about that poem from Our Feminists Around the World, it's like, am I sad or is it my birth control pills? Like,
Yes.
it's definitely one of those things too. Like, am I sick? Or am I just sad? Like, this level. And then, like, I've been trying to add more fiber because I actually really do love vegetables. It's just like keeping them and then hoping that it doesn't ruin and you don't want to buy it and waste all of these vegetables because they can so quickly. So you're like, And I'm trying to do that because now the back and forth of like, you need more protein. I'm like, maybe I'm missing protein. So I added protein shakes. And then like, oh, no, you're missing more fiber. So like, okay, maybe I need more fiber. I'm going to add more of that. It seems like a back and forth. And I'm like, am I actually just adding more junk to my body that's just going to be flushed out? Or am I actually doing something good for myself?
Yeah, I think an important thing to note here too is a lot of our diet industry has been influenced by like the sugar industry basically paid a lot of people to say fat was bad.
Right.
And so for years we believed that. And so it's hard to know what's the truth in that sense. And we do go back and forth all the time. Like, actually, maybe this is good. Maybe it's the worst thing.
Milk and eggs, number one. They're great. They're bad. They're great. They're bad.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it does go back to the point of bodies are complicated. If you're really lacking in something, which it sounds like you're not, but for people who are, it's better to, I think, try to have the iron gummy and maybe pee a lot of it out, and that sucks. But like if it's like a real serious deficiency, but bodies are complicated, so it's hard to know.
And that's, again, like, also going back to Peaches, my dog, I've found so many more lumps on her, and that freaks me out. And I've had lumps checked on her. She had a pretty big surgery in removing one giant lump from her side, not because it was tumorous or anything, but because they were afraid it was going to hurt her hip, because it was directly on her hip. So it was going to affect her movement. And it was big. And thank goodness everything was good. And she's doing a lot better because she was limping at one point. I was like, oh no. And they thought that was what's pressing. And now I found more lumps. And it's only on one side of her body. And I'm like, what is this? So more panicking, y'all. More panicking. And also, again, but I also dread taking her to the vet. And don't get me wrong, I love the vets. They are wonderful. It's her reaction to the vet. Yeah. That I have the problem with. Like, our vet is wonderful. Vets are very underestimated and underappreciated. And I know that's some of the highest rates of like burnout and then some, and like mental health stuff is within the vet community, and they're not loved enough. We love you. But my dog's a dick. And she does not do well. So I have these things. So between myself, my own body, I'm like, what is wrong with me? And then between her, I'm like, I have to stop focusing on all these things. But at the same time, if I can prevent something, I'm more likely to believe the BS that I see on TikTok, which is, I mean, again, when I tell you, have I officially made the Korean carrot salad that's been trending? Yes. Do I love it? Yes. But is it actually retinol? That's what they keep advertising it to me as.
I think that's a myth.
Right? I think it is too. But I'm like, why are y'all saying this to me?
Because I did that too. Because when I was losing my eyesight, and I was like, I maybe that's not the same thing, but carrots actually don't help your eyesight. They help your night vision.
Oh, well, that's good, because my night vision is not great either.
Well, I don't even know if that's true. I just know that I found out later that it's not your vision. It's your night vision. And I was like, well, what have I been doing eating these bags of carrots every day?
So retinol for your skin. That's
yes.
I'm like, is that true? Is it true?
I
It
don't
does
know.
contain beta carotene, which can convert, it says, but they're not directly actually related to this. I'm sure we have some people who are experts that are going to be like, oh, Samantha, let me tell you about this. So if you have that, let me know. Because don't get me wrong, though. I'm excited to eat carrots. And y'all, I added serrano peppers. It is so spicy that it makes me very happy. Like the level, because that, sometimes serranos are like jalapenos where it tastes like bell peppers or it's extra spicy. I got the extra spicy and it's delightful. It is burning my face off in an amazing way. I have to take breaks and take deep breaths because it's so spicy, but I love it. But all of that to say is, like, I absolutely believe all of that is great. Like anything with digestion because it has the sesame oil and the rice vinegar. So great. But I'm like, why are y'all telling me this is eat your retinol? This seems weird. This doesn't seem right.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like a lot of stuff like that, it is not correct. But carrots are good for you. You can overeat on anything. I will tell you
can
that's
turn
something.
Orange, right?
You can turn orange, but you can get all kinds of like bezors and stuff from eating too much of something. Not carrots, but there are examples of things like that. So to reiterate, if eating your carrots, that's great. If you're doing it for a health reason that you're not sure of, that's fine, but don't do it medicinally at a level because it actually could backfire and actually could put you in the hospital. And we are not experts. I will say it a million times.
We are asking if this is real. We're not telling you it is. We're asking.
No.
That's definitely not because I'm like, this feels like a pipeline to being like a lot of disinformation that we see that'll like when people do those cleanses or carrot. Like, you eat this one diet thing and we're like, no, none of that's healthy. This can't, like, I feel like that same thing with like the carnivore diet, the Atkins diet that everybody was freaking out on. I'm like, that seemed very obvious. I'm like, you're going to have a heart attack. This is not a great idea.
I feel like the most obvious thing is, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the most obvious thing to me is, have a varied diet where you're eating your proteins and I don't know, like don't focus on one thing.
It's all about like portions and consumption, amounts and such.
Yeah.
Going overboard on anything, whether it's extremely one way or the other, like not eating at all or eating all this, is not great. Like anyway, like having some type of balance is great. I think a part of this is though, like what can I do? Because is this going to help my bones? Is this going to help my joints?
Yeah.
That pop every time I move. That like literally if I lay too long on one side, it goes numb. Like what can I do? I woke up with dark circles under my eyes. That's the first time. For myself who I will have little bags and little lines. I'm used to. The circles was new. I was like, ugh, where'd that come from? So of course, immediately put on eye cream. And I've told the story many times. I've gotten caught up in like buying products that people are like, no, this is absolutely amazing. And then you're like, oh, this is very unethical.
Yeah.
But like within 3 months too, they were like, it's amazing. Oh yeah, it's unethical to use that. And not effective.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is like a lot of that stuff, even if it was effective, I don't think a lot of people stick with it.
No.
And so it's not, you have to do it for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's the other part is like, I understand maybe I'm jumping too quickly. I will say the product that I recently have loved, and I know we've already done the ad and we've already been sponsored, and I'm just saying this as like a consumer now, I guess, that Merit like makeup stick, it's delightful.
Yeah. It's very light. It feels very light.
I think they got me. Our own sponsor got me.
Sometimes it happens.
It happens sometimes, I sit here really getting caught up. Usually I can tell the BS. And sometimes, again, like I said, the salad, I'm okay with because it is delicious and I will eat that. And I'm very happy because it's so simple. But like, I wonder, Like, at what point is this right? Is, the whole, like, when it comes to holistic things, I'm very wary anyway. But they can't all be a lie, can it?
No. Well, like I said, I mean, it's kind of the flip side of what we were talking about earlier. It's just when people get in it to make money.
You're right.
I think there's a history of things being used medicinally and having a medicinal use, but it's just most of us are not consuming them in that way. And I can't say it enough. Do not consume anything medicinally in a medicinal amount unless you talk to a professional first.
Yeah.
But it's not like the core of it is.
Right. It's not a
There's
fix-all.
no truth to it. Right.
Yeah. It's not a fix-all. I mean, peppermints help my stomach when I'm upset.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That doesn't cure stomach aches.
Yes, exactly. And I do think that there's, now that we're entering kind of a real misinformation, disinformation thing with our health in the US. And I think there's like a big area for not great actors to swoop in and be like, well, you could try this and it'll fix it.
I've already seen it. And this is what kind of was worrying me is like, people are capitalizing. Oh man, you better get this. You better get, because like I was thinking about that with coffee. Like you can, but if you actually like good coffee, sounds so snobbish right now, to buy it and then put it in the freezer or store it, it ruins part of the taste. Sure, it'll save and sure you'll have it, but it ruins part of the taste of it. And I feel weird about like, do I want to buy bulk because it's about to go up exponentially? There's no way I can do that with avocados. Like, I guess you can freeze everything, but even then it still expires. Same thing with like chicken, it still expires. So what is that? And then also I'm very fearful of the chicken, and I'm now getting more fearful of the milk and the eggs because of the like amount of bad players as well as no oversight. The oversight is pretty much gone, it seems. And you better hope that you get what you can. But like, there's so many things that I'm like, so what do we trust? Are these good things? Are these bad things? Are these the truth? Are these conspiracy theories? There's so much. Like, that's why I'm like pinpointing and looking at things. I'm like, is this true? Is this not? Us as creators who have to who are trying to make sure that we are giving accurate information, this is getting hard.
It is. And it's always been murky in the health industry. I would say, also just even if you're not sure, try to do some baseline research, because I know like mushrooms, they're having a moment of like, this mushroom can heal this. Some mushrooms like shiitake, if you don't cook it, you can get really sick. So just look into stuff like that. Also, I think you've touched on a anxiety a lot of people have, including me, where it's almost like I don't want to go to the doctor because then I'll have to admit something is wrong.
Right.
And the fear of like, I don't know if I can fix this. Is this it's because you want to be preventative, but it's also like, oh, I'm going to have to actually face something. And on top of that, I've told this story before. My dad, when he was diagnosed with cancer, they're like, you should have come in earlier. And he's like, I come in every year. I do the test every year.
Yeah.
And so it's like frustrating when it's like, you got to weigh your, how long am I going to wait between visits? Because I don't want to find out, but I also do want to know.
Right. I mean, honestly, my own family who went through something of like trying to figure out their diagnosed themselves and pushed. I was very proud of them. Advocated for more testing. They were like, well, you don't have to. Like, no, we want to. So they were able to catch things, but they're still having to do testing even since like it's been 6-7 months. But they're still like having to do some testing, and they're having to still advocate for themselves because something doesn't feel right to them. And they were right. But all of that to say is also I'm scared that not only are they going to tell me, but then because of the way our medical system works, I'm about to go into a medical debt. But on top of that they're going to start saying you have to go to this specialist and this specialist and this specialist. Yeah. And then because of the way our healthcare system is set up, that next year, my insurance is going to go way up because I've been diagnosed. And now I have a pre-existing condition as for next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's too much.
We try to, like, it's funny to me that we at many companies, our own included, there's like a incentivizing factor to get like a test, and it's like $100 or something. Like, it does add up, but I'm like,
right.
maybe.
After your deductible, which is a significant amount. I'm like, good God, what is this? Anyway, our healthcare system sucks. Everything's the worst. Help me. But to end this segment in my confusion, I would love to hear from y'all listeners about some of the things that you have discovered, some of the things that you're like, no, this is BS, don't do this. Some of the things that you might think is actually helpful. I think that's something that we would want to talk about. Also, if you have like a brand or a company that you trust, let us know, because we want to keep that in tabs of our list of like future things of like, these are the trusted companies, these are good people that have good intentions, all of these things, because I think that's something we need more of, is being able to have reliable resources. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this was fun.
Sorry.
I didn't know we were going to be talking about this.
I told you I had questions.
You did, but you didn't tell me what they were.
It's a happy hour. This is where I keep you on your toes. We have to have a discussion, Annie.
Wow. You definitely surprised me with this one. So thank you as always. Once again, a reminder, I am not an expert. Please do not yell at me.
You are one of my advisors.
Because Savor, we talk about these kinds of things. So
yes,
go on.
But you also are a great researcher. So I know you've taken the time to, when you say a statement, I know you've researched it pretty thoroughly.
Well, it's almost always like more research is needed. Bodies are complicated.
Right.
That's our slogan.
As per usual. And it changes.
Yep. Well, listeners, if you have thoughts, you could email us at hello@stuffmonevertoldyou.com. You can find us on Blue Sky at Momsa Podcast, or on Instagram and TikTok at Stuff Mom Never Told You. We're also on YouTube. We have a TeePublic store, and we have a book you can get wherever you get your books. Thanks as always to our super producer Christina, our executive producer Maya, and our contributor Joey.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for listening. Stuff I Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.